Hi everyone and welcome back to Ammo's YouTube channel. Today we will be addressing how to capture leads with Webflow forms. Believe it or not, almost 75% of companies use web forms for lead capture, making it the most used lead generation tactic. By the end of this video, you'll be able to create effective lead capture forms and integrate your marketing tools with it. Let's hop into Webflow and see how we create a basic and well-structured form. So this is just a page test build that I've been building out for YouTube, just kind of testing out some things and doing some YouTube tutorials. First thing we look at is the section. So let's go ahead and add our container into this section. That reminds me, if you want to quickly find something, just click Command E on a Mac and we can add a heading here, right? Or I think it's Control E on a PC. So if you just click heading, we'll add our heading. This will be an H2 heading. Click H2, and then we'll also add a paragraph, and then we'll obviously add a form block right here. Okay, we want to keep everything organized like I keep saying, and one of the best ways to do that with Webflow is adding div blocks. So if we, again, Command E, type in div, we have a div block here, and let's put our heading and our paragraph into that. That way we can select this div block here and just these things are selected, and let's set the max width to 350 pixels. That looks nice. And let's just do YouTube video request. And then we'll say need video. All right, this is just for fun, so we're just kind of having fun with it. So each form comes with two automatic name and email address. We want to add another one. So let's just hold Option or Alt and just select this down and bring this text field down as well with it. Now we have three forms, and we'll change this one to message. We don't need two email addresses. We'll say request. Okay. Another note is that with these field labels, or with the text fields, I apologize, you can add required. So if you want to make their email required, you can just click that box and it will require them before they submit it. Let's also change this button to match the other buttons on our site. And that is just with the style selector button 2. So now we have that. All right. So let's get a little bit more organized and add everything in this form into a div block. So let's add our div block here. We're going to need 3 of these. This form is what we're going to be working off of. This is our parent element. So we're going to be creating child elements of our form, which is the parent. So we want this to kind of be, we don't really want this to be vertical. We'd rather have it horizontal, just for most people read left to right. So we want it to be horizontal. So if you just click flex, that can do that for you. Now we need to add our div blocks. So let's add 3 div blocks into our form. Let's also name our form. Oh, it's already named, form 5. So we'll remember that. Another note is that when designing in Webflow, if you have style selectors that aren't needed on your site, like all of these, just from messing around, you can just click remove. That way there's no confusion at all, and you can just get back to work. Let's add these elements of our form into our div blocks. We're gonna need 3 of them here. So let's keep adding these. This is going to keep everything very organized and a lot easier to space out and manage. This is very constricted in this form. So we want to add a bit of space here. So let's go to our parent element. Okay. And let's look at what the settings are here. So we can add some gap here if we want, but before we do that, we need to click on our div block and give it a style selector. So let's call this lead gen. We'll call it LG1. We'll call it lead gen 1. Okay. And type in LG1. Okay. The next div block, LG1. I will also show how to do a combo class, okay? For the button, we're gonna be doing a combo class because we already have that button as a style. We wanna change it for this specific lead form. Now that we have that, let's go ahead and go to the child element again, which is that LG1, and let's take a look at this. If you click grow as possible, it's gonna grow as big as that container or the form. So now let's give it some gap. Let's go back to the form 5. And let's give it some gap between those spaces. That looks pretty nice. Okay. Now the button is looking a little bit too tall. So what we need to do, we need to set the parent element here, which is form. Now our form is starting to look really nicely organized and really nicely formatted. Let's add one more really nice element, which is some functionality with these text entries. So if we select our text entry with the style selector selected, we hit this drop down arrow, focused keyboard. That means whenever someone interacts with it with their keyboard, for instance, types their name into it, it's gonna change in whatever way we tell it. As you can see, I've kind of got it on this dark background. I'm actually gonna make it a little bit darker just to stand out with the contrast, okay? And now if we go to preview mode, whenever someone types, it will be dark. It just adds a little bit of interactivity and you can totally get creative with this. The next thing, let's go ahead and add that. So since that was on the text field, so if we set all of our text fields to that style class, they will all have that same trait. So now it's just easy. I can type in whatever you want, request, I need a video, and it looks really nice and has a lot of contrast. Let's also add a box shadow for our button, which is right here. Let's just add some size here, and we want this to match our brand color. And let's add some size. We don't want it to be that big, just a little drop shadow. And then a lot of blur. We'll actually make this size a little bit smaller, just to add a little bit of contact. Just add a little bit of contrast. So that's looking really nice. With the form selected, if we go to the settings, we have these states, right? So this is normal. We also have success and error. So that means if the form is successfully submitted, what message will they get? So it's looking pretty gray. It's a little wordy. So let's change this to thank you. Let's just say thank you. Thank you. And then let's also change the color of the success message to, let's just do like a green maybe, or a blue. Definitely not a red, a nice light blue. That looks nice. And so now we can change this style selector of this message to just say message. Okay. Now, if we go back to the form, back to the settings, now we have error. Okay. So that's looking pretty nice, but we probably need to center this. So let's go to the error message. Let's go to the style and let's give this a message. We can give that the same exact class, but add a combo class. We'll add error. Let's make this one red. We'll make this one red. Okay. And now we can also center this. So let's go ahead and align that in the center. Now we've taken care of the successfully submitted and the error message. So now that our form is set up and we have everything how we want it, let's hop over to Zapier and see how we can do this. So now that we're in Zapier, we just click create a new Zap. You're going to select Webflow as the trigger. And this will be the form submission right here. There's a ton of customization to this as well. And then the action will be a Gmail message. And then the second part of this is connecting your Gmail account to actually send the email. So once you click action event, you can scroll down. You see you have a ton of options here, but we're going to use send email for this example. And then on the account, I've just connected my ammo email to this account. Once you click continue, there's a ton of variables to fill out, from reply to subject to the body of the text. This is all customizable to your certain situation. And then once you fill all that out, you can go to the next step, which is testing your Zap. Webflow's form capabilities provide a powerful toolset for lead generation. But before you start building your lead generation forms, we have a resource that you will find valuable. Our guide, How to Design the Perfect Startup Website, offers insights on how to create an effective website, including form design, so click the link down in the description to grab yourself a copy. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Remember that forms are a crucial part of any successful online business strategy. And until next time, keep innovating and optimizing your web presence. We'll see you in the next one.